news, a Confederate monument in Decatur coming down overnight. What led up to the decision? Plus, fired Atlanta police officer Garrett Rolfe is now behind bars. He's expected to appear in court for the first time today. And a big win for young undocumented immigrants on Capitol Hill. Why some say the fight to U.S. citizenship is far from over. We have those stories and more today, Friday, June 19th.
Live from Atlanta, Morning Rush starts now.
All right, Gator fans, non-Gator fans, how about no more Gator bait? The University of Florida's president announcing the cheer will no longer be done at sporting events. We're digging in and sharing your reaction to the changes in a few minutes, but let us know your thoughts. Use that hashtag Morning Rush ATL as we kick off our Friday morning with, there she is, that smiling face. I just want to hug you every time I see you.
I know we would, but hey, you know what? This is the way I'm going to hug you this morning. Good morning, Chesley. Good morning, Crash.
Nice.
First, we want to say good morning and happy Friday to you at home. I'm Francesca Amaker. Sheba Russell is off today. Crash Clark will join us in a few moments. But first, let's begin with meteorologist Chesley McNeil. Good to see you.
All right, and happy Juneteenth. We have sunshine, at least to start off this morning. Notice we don't have a whole lot in the way of clouds out there, and those clouds will start to bubble up, we'll say, by the time we hit the mid-morning into early afternoon. Then the chance for a few isolated showers around. Temperature starting off in the 60s this morning, 68 degrees in Edenton, also 68 in Atlanta, 65 over toward Athens. The cool spot would be Blairsville, starting off in the 50s at 56 this morning. 79 degrees will be your temperature by noon, going up to 85 for an afternoon high.
All right, Chesley, thank you. Breaking overnight, crews removed a Confederate monument from the Decatur Square overnight to be put in storage. There it is right there. Nick Sturdivant is live in Decatur now with more on what led to that decision. Nick.
Good morning, Francesca. As you can see behind me, that Confederate monument is gone. And just last week, a judge ordered to remove the lost cause Confederate monument. It was deemed a public nuisance because it kept being vandalized. Now, take a look at your screen. This is video from hours ago when it was removed. There was a crowd here as the monument was being removed. You could hear cheers and hand claps. I heard someone yell, "Take it down." And this Confederate monument has been up for 100 plus years. There has been a push for years here for it to be taken down. A few years ago, a petition to get it taken down got 1,100 signatures in just 24 hours. The decision to move the monument comes amid increased scrutiny regarding Confederate monuments across the nation. And from here, it will be placed into storage. And later this morning at 10 a.m., DeKalb County CEO Michael Thurman will hold a news conference concerning it. Francesca.
Thank you, Nick. Right now, a former Atlanta police officer is behind bars in the Gwinnett County Jail. Garrett Rolfe is accused of firing the fatal shot that killed Rashard Brooks. He is expected to have his first court appearance today. And Mara Sirianni is live outside that Fulton County Jail where Rolfe was originally being held. Mara?
He was, and so records show that Rolfe was moved to Lawrenceville about 2 hours after turning himself into police yesterday. And his first court appearance, we're told, is expected to be held here in Fulton County, though. So I want to show you the mugshot for Garrett Rolfe. It came into our newsroom late last night. Again, records show the fired APD officer is waking up in the Gwinnett County Jail. Remember, he's charged with 11 counts, including felony murder in connection with the death of Rashard Brooks. If convicted of the murder charge, Rolfe could face the death penalty or life in prison without parole. Rolfe's attorney, Lance LaRusso, declined to speak on camera after his client surrendered yesterday. But just to recap, LaRusso told us he believes the video speaks for itself and he believes it shows that Rolfe fired his weapon in self-defense. DA Howard has said that prosecutors determined the officer's taser had been fired twice and no longer presented a threat. So again, all sides to this story, but he is due in court in Fulton County at noon. Guys.
Mara, thank you. And the second officer facing charges in the case, Devin Brosnan, is out on bail this morning. Brosnan says through his attorney, Don Samuel, that at first he did not realize Rashard Brooks had even been shot. The district attorney also accuses Brosnan of stepping on Brooks and holding Brooks down with his foot. And here's what Brosnan is saying through his attorney about that accusation.
He knows that Mr. Brooks has his taser, so he's worried about that. So he puts his foot down on his arm just to make sure he can't grab a weapon. It's like 6 seconds. Then he realizes he's been shot, he doesn't have a weapon, and he takes his foot off his arm. And the DA says that's an aggravated assault.
Now, Brosnan is facing charges of aggravated assault and 3 counts of violation of oath. He faces 1 to 20 years in prison. And reports of police walkouts in Atlanta blew up on social media. Indeed. And interim Atlanta Police Chief Rodney Bryant tells the Associated Press officers started to call out Wednesday night and continued to do so Thursday. Bryant did not say, however, how many officers called out in protest over the arrests of Garrett Rolfe and Devin Brosnan. He says some officers are angry and others may even feel abandoned. APD says other Metro Atlanta police departments are ready to step in to help if needed. Now to some other top stories we're following on this Friday morning.
I'm Elwin Lopez. Nearly 800,000 young undocumented immigrants are allowed to live and work in the United States under the DACA program. The Supreme Court has ruled against the Trump administration's efforts to end the DACA program. But DACA recipients I spoke to here in Georgia say what they really want at this time is a permanent solution from Congress.
I'm Tracy Potts. President Trump is moving ahead with his campaign rally in Tulsa, Oklahoma this weekend. It's happening tomorrow. Despite health officials there saying they're concerned about packing what's expected to be thousands of people into an arena with coronavirus still spreading. Tulsa has seen a 100% spike in hospitalizations in just the past week. The White House says the campaign will hand out masks and do temperature checks, but those masks are optional.
Milestone testing and other evaluations could be suspended for the school year. The state is requesting the suspension. Governor Brian Kemp and State Superintendent Richard Woods releasing the statement saying it would be counterproductive to have the test because of the impacts of the coronavirus pandemic. They say the school's focus should stay on student safety.
And the state of Mississippi is being hit with a demand from the Southeastern Conference. The College Athletic Conference says Mississippi must change its state flag or it cannot host SEC championships. The flag prominently features the Confederate symbol. And one of UGA's biggest rivals is making a big change as it addresses racism and inequality. The University of Florida is getting rid of the school's Gator Bait cheer. The university's president says that there is no evidence of racism associated with the Gator Bait cheer at sporting events, but there is a horrific historic racist imagery associated with the phrase of African American babies being used as alligator bait in the late 1800s and early 20th century. Now 11 Alive is where Atlanta speaks, and this story is getting a lot of reactions from you all online. Nancy writes, "It was the past. Dear God, move on and heal." Now, Demon writes, "As a double Gator, I say kudos to my alma mater, go Gators." And James says, "I am originally from the South and I've never heard of that." So let's bring in Crash and Chesley on this one. And guys, I know I put this on my Facebook, my Instagram yesterday. Many people had no idea, but growing up here in the South, I'd heard of it.
Yeah, I had no idea. I never heard of this before, but I've always been a proponent of when you know better, you do better. And once we've found out or somebody has revealed to us something new and it's something horrific as this, it's time to change.
Yeah, in fact, I learned it when I read your Instagram. I had no idea. I mean, being a college football fan, I'm a Miami guy, so we've played Florida many, many times. Never even thought twice about it. Now that I know the history, great move from the University of Florida. I think it's a good thing, and I think it's time. I'm just curious. I have a question. It's a chant itself. It's not the actual when they do the Gator hands. Is that going away as well? I'm kind of curious.
It's the phrase itself that, to my understanding, and Fran maybe can speak a little bit more on it, but the phrase itself just was the imagery of taking African American babies and using them as gator bait.
Oh my God.
You know?
Yeah, no, good move. Yeah.
All right, so we want you to chime in as well. Use the hashtag MorningRushATL. Let us know what you think about this move. As far as your forecast goes, we're looking at sunshine, at least starting off this morning. Temperatures in the 60s. We'll hit the 70s by 9, right around 72 degrees, 78 by 11, hitting the 80s for this afternoon. We hit the 80s yesterday, back up there again. I'm thinking 85 degrees for your afternoon high temperature. There'll be some isolated showers around, especially after about 2 o'clock, maybe some embedded thunderstorms there as well. How about the weekend? Well, first day of summer is tomorrow, officially comes in about 5:43. 89 degrees will be the high temperature, mostly sunny skies, partly sunny skies on Father's Day, and 91.
Beautiful weekend on tap. Looking forward to it. Get out and celebrate. All right, folks, look at this. Some good news for you. We had that ramp shut down, and it's a familiar ramp. The 166 westbound ramp from the connector southbound that was closed. It's now open, although there's not a whole lot of you out there. One driver going by, but at least we've got the ramp open. The icon's still showing that police are on the scene, but I promise you that ramp is now officially open. Big 3, great shape, no trouble, 75, 85, and Georgia 400.
Crash, thank you. Today is June 19th, also known as Juneteenth Day. It's a day many consider our country's second Independence Day. Here's a little insight into why.
Open a U.S. history book, and chances are its author will quickly point out January 1st, 1863, the date President Abraham Lincoln, with one proclamation, orders and declares that all persons held as slaves shall be free. What that same history book might fail to mention is what happened to these words once they arrived on the shores of Galveston, Texas, more than 2 years after Lincoln wrote them. In the 1860s, word didn't travel like it did now. And in 1865, months after General Robert E. Lee's surrender, word of the end of the Civil War had yet to hit the southern state and its 250,000 slaves. And then came General Gordon Granger's arrival in Galveston, June 19, 1865, and General Order Number 3, all slaves are free. Juneteenth was born. While Juneteenth celebrations continued to varying degrees in the U.S. for decades, it would take until 1980 for Texas to become the first state to declare it a holiday. Today, 47 states recognize it and the District of Columbia, a chapter of our history for far too long left out of the books designed to document it, but no longer. Juneteenth, or as the National Museum of African American History and Culture now calls it, our country's second Independence Day.
Oh, so for me, Juneteenth, I would say it means celebrating our own freedom and our own resilience as African Americans. So what does Juneteenth mean to you? Let us know. Use the hashtag #MorningRushATL. Chesley?
All right, ahead on Morning Rush. The NFL making plans for the 2020 season, but a top doctor recommends some ideas on playing it safe.
Plus, the names on college buildings are now under review, the process the university system of Georgia is now using.
And new unemployment numbers are out, showing promise as more businesses begin to reopen.
Welcome back to Morning Rush. Here's a look at the top 3 things you need to know right now outside of the metro. Number 1, a federal hearing is set for today on the Justice Department's effort to stop the Bolton book. The Justice Department filing an emergency application for a temporary restraining order and a motion for a preliminary injunction against John Bolton. Now, the preliminary injunction is to prevent Bolton from being able to publish his tell-all book. The Trump administration filing a lawsuit against the former national security advisor earlier this week. The book is expected to be released on Tuesday. And number 2, live and play in a bubble. That's what Dr. Anthony Fauci is saying the NFL needs to do in order to play the upcoming season. Earlier this week, the NFL's chief medical officer said creating closed-off communities for athletes to live and compete is not practical or appropriate. He then released a statement yesterday after Dr. Fauci's comments saying they're developing a comprehensive and rapid result testing program and rigorous protocols for everyone to follow. And coming in at number 3, fired over a statement mask. Taco Bell issuing this statement saying it is deeply upset after one of its employees was fired for wearing a Black Lives Matter mask at work. The company tweeting it believes the movement is a human rights issue and not a political issue, and the employee should not have been in that position. The former employee says he has no hard feelings toward the company, but he wants justice for Black lives. Chesley.
All right, we're starting off with fair skies this morning, which means we're going to have plenty of sunshine early on, but showers will be moving in. We're going to time that out for you hour by hour coming up. Stay with us.